You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
What's going on, U.S. Cellular customers? I've got good news, so don't hit skip, at least not yet. I'm talking about their special customer event, Us Days. What is Us Days? It means exclusive offers just for their customers, just to say thanks, like $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet. No, I didn't just misread that. They must really like you. Us Days at U.S. Cellular, exclusive offers just for you, just to say thank you. Right now, U.S. Cellular customers get $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet. Terms apply.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show, the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. Doesn't look like we have any of those, so let's get started with Andy from Kansas, who got cut off by the 3-minute monstrosity.
3 minutes got me. Last thing. You also mentioned, I think it was in that same episode about team-centric, but maybe the episode after that, about players who left the Packers and other analysts and talking heads said, I can't believe, that this guy left and what are the Packers going to do? It'd be interesting to find out. You had a whole list of them, Cobb and Amos. And so some of those guys we got comp picks for. I'm curious to hear which picks or which guys who left turned into which new picks for the team, the Allen Lazard situation. So just to put those side by side and say, would you rather have had Lazard on the team or this guy? And it would be kind of interesting to see how that would work out if you're looking for off-season ideas. Anyway, thanks. Bye.
Yeah, what you're bringing up kind of reminds me of, it's similar to the conversation for yesterday's podcast or whatever, about, for example, Jordan Love and his contract, right? It's you look at it and say, well, we can't afford $25 million cap hit, or that's going to eat it all. And it's like, well, you forgot about the $12 million that he's already on the cap for. It's a minor detail that makes a big difference. Or, for example, the salary cap only accounts for the top, 51, 53, whatever, I don't remember. All these things are minor calculations that people forget about, and compensatory picks could be another one of those things. When we factor in, compensation received. I mean, all these things could get plugged into several different questions, such as, how good of a job Brian Gutekunst has done, but also in addition to, the Aaron Jones conversation of, should you have let them go? Well, at what cost, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not going to pull that up today, but that is a good idea to kind of further look at, like Lazard. What did we get? Compare that to what did the Jets get? And it's not even just that. I mean, what is the total value we got from Allen Lazard? Because it's easy to make fun of Lazard, and it's like, oh, he's not that good. He did some good stuff for the Green Bay Packers for several years. So we acquired a good amount of value. And then we were still able to flip the guy and make a profit. And then, again, you can compare not only how much value did we get compared to what we gave up for him, but then how much value did we actually lose by letting him go somewhere else, which then you could also factor in opportunity cost. For example, Wicks versus Lazard, meaning we didn't lose anything. So there's a lot of different points to look at that would definitely be interesting. But yeah, there's always a lot of little nuanced things to keep in mind when we have these sort of generic conversations about keep or drop or cut or whatever. It'd definitely be fun to go back and see how we've done over the years.
Hey, Mr. Slip. Steve up in Alaska. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good.
Just hanging out, getting ready for another week of being out in barbecue stand.
Nice.
Excuse me. Weather up here is finally warming up. We still got snow on the mountains all over the place. But figured I'd call in. It's been a little while. I've been listening to shows, people talking. I know everybody's still kind of stuck on the AI thing. I got hopefully one final point on it.
Okay.
Everybody's, you've had a lot of people calling in talking about musicians, and that's kind of been the focus a little bit for the last couple of days, is how AI will affect music. I think something that everybody's kind of not paying attention to is that most musicians don't write their own music. Somebody else writes their music, and then they sing it. They didn't sit and figure out these songs and create these songs on their own. Somebody else did it. And then it goes to a studio where computers fix it, readjust things, do vocalizers, add in synthesized sounds. So AI doing music, it's just the tiniest little step forward from what we're doing now with music. So
if you think about, like who are these Instagram influencers or whatever? Again, I don't go on there, but my understanding is you've got like pretty girls that are famous on Instagram for being pretty, and they post pictures of themselves. What if they were able to, for example, generate music and lip sync? Could you become a music sensation? I mean, obviously that would be somewhat fraudulent, but I'm just thinking through this. How could you use this? Of course, if you have a nice voice or whatever, you could have AI kind of create the music for you. If you're not maybe a good writer, you could have that, and you can have the instrumentals done by AI. How else would you do it? You'd have to get a band, or you'd have to learn how to mix music or do all these kinds of things yourself. Now you can create your own music, because that is an option, to just do instrumentals, do a whole song and just sing over it. So, you can have sort of baby steps in a direction rather than just, like I said, this overnight overhaul of everyone just going, I don't like Taylor Swift anymore, I like AI music. Like, that's obviously not going to happen. But you're going to have steps. And again, this is a way to take, and this is kind of the thing with AI too, is it just elevates certain things. So you can have a situation where there's certain things you're just not capable of doing that AI can now give you. It's giving you the extra couple inches to be able to play basketball. Like you're a really good basketball player, but you're 5'6" and you're not Muggsy Bogues or whatever, How tall was that guy? This is just like giving you longer legs and longer arms. Gives you the ability to, if you want to create a website or something, it can code it for you, just coding it. Like I've done things with, there's I don't even know what you would call it. Well, Python, for example. There's no way I could teach myself Python. It would take years, and I'm terrible at that stuff. I've dabbled with Python just by asking the robot, and I've been able to generate things with Python just by like, oh, here's the code, and then some things will go wrong, and I'm like, here's an error, and it's like, all right, let's rewrite this part. Just I'm like, okay, what do I do with it? Like, oh yeah, just do this. Da, 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 da. The amount of steps I went through. I was trying to create something, and it didn't super pan out the way I wanted it to. Plus, you do have to pay for these things. That's part of what I was telling you about the cost coming down being a big benefit. But trying to implement AI into certain things, and it's like, oh yeah, you can do that. And it's like, there's 7 different websites. Go to Amazon AWS and sign up for this account, because they've got like 75 different things. And go to their, web portal hosting database thing. Now create this account. Now do this. Now go into here and start a new this and copy this and paste the thing. And it's like I'm so lost, but it's working. And I'm going through and I'm going through all the steps and I'm creating this thing. I have no idea how to do it. So it just gives people tools to be able to do things, and it's going to get even easier. I am beyond excited for what's apparently already available. They just haven't released it yet, but the ability for AI to watch what you're doing on your computer, so that I don't have to like try to type and explain like, okay, so now I did this, but this is, to just be able to be like, and especially to talk to it and say, for example, you're trying to create a website and you want to actually build it, not just use some web builder. It'll create the code, and you can look, just tell it like, hey, that blue on top, how do I change that to more of a Packer color? And it'll know the hex colors, and it'll just change it for you. Like, put this code here. click on that button over on the top left, go to settings, pull up the code, find this line, push Control F, find this, paste this into Control F. That'll show you, okay, that's where that is. Change this to this hex color. Done. That's kind of where we're at with AI. It's stilts. It's giving you an extra bit of it's taking somebody who's not musically inclined and allowing them to create music. I can't do that stuff. I'm not artistically inclined, but I like music and I can create it. I've been working on that Blues Brothers Bear Still Suck song. I'm so happy with it. I don't want to, I'll give you a little teaser. Also really excited. My dad has no idea what's going on with AI. I'm going to talk to him about a couple different things that I'd like to work with him on, but he is going to freak out about the music thing, I think.
False hope. They claim to be monsters, but they lack the roar. The bears still suck, always losing the war.
You can even hear the roar of the crowd. This is like the live version. I didn't ask for that, but it did it, and it sounds awesome. You can hear the crowd cheering in the background. And there's so many different things. Like, it wasn't doing blues. It was kind of doing more whatever the soul stuff for a while. And I was like, this isn't what I'm supposed to do, but I love the way these sound. Like, these are just good. They're just good songs. That, or it's like a different kind of blues. Like the blues that I like Blues Brothers blues is a different kind of thing, but I'm more like the B.B. King blues. And so there's like some of these.
In the windy city, where the bands can't cope.
It's just like it's like, I know I got to stay focused on the project that I was tasked with, but that sounds so good to me. You got like the perfect, like was it Lucille? The beautiful guitar in the background. I love that so much. Got like this one.
In the windy city, where the fan can't cope.
I freaking love this so much. Anyways, sorry, I'm derailing your thing here, but yeah, that's where I think we're at with AI. I don't know we're to the point where AI is going to be controlling whole things, but it can give you the ability to do stuff that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise.
I don't think that's a big deal. The computer generates it. Somebody still got to learn how to play it, and then they can go out and play it, but they didn't create it. But going on to the Packer stuff, you've been talking a bit about with the Philly game specifically how, it doesn't seem to make sense that we're the underdog. When you figure it's a 1.1.5 points, I mean, really it's pretty much a draw. They haven't decided. I think they just flipped to the home team, even though it's not a home game. It's just what the bookmakers do. And plus they're always trying to get people to make bets in one direction or another. It's not necessarily about who they think is going to win or lose the game or by how much. It's what the public thinks and what they can get the public to put money on. But personally, I like the fact that we're being underrated by the league. I would love to go into the season and have the first half of the season everybody thinking that we're just going to be dogs while we're out there whooping up on everybody, and then force them to change their minds and have to come to our side because, dang it, we just can't go against it anymore. They're showing too much, and we're just going to have to admit that this is really a good team. I prefer that. I prefer going in and having people doubt us, and then we can prove them wrong much more than, like the 2011 season where we were coming off of the Super Bowl and we were going to go and dominate the league, which we did until we didn't. So yeah, that's my thoughts on things. I'm going to go back to chopping vegetables. I'm doing Rubens this week. I know you're not a big Rubens fan, but for those who are, I'm doing Rubens. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Yeah, and I did mention that if you look at the odds, I think there's only one team that's an away team that Vegas is picking. Now I couldn't find any that didn't make sense. In other words, the home teams all seem to be the better teams. I don't know if that's something the schedule maker did to, just make it more exciting for week one for the home teams to be happy and yay, we won. I don't know. I have no idea, but I still don't get it. You know what I mean? I don't understand. I know it's basically a pick. I mean, it's your base, but that's kind of the point. Like, are we saying they're the same team? I guess so. And maybe it's right. I don't know. I just would love for somebody to explain to me how we get here, right? Because the last we saw of this team, they're garbage. Just hot, steaming trash. Why are they not what they are anymore? And the only thing I've seen so far is, well, they got all new coaches. So? Are they better coaches? Are they worse coaches? How long is it going to take for them to implement this new thing? And why do we think this new thing is going to be good? As I've already said, I know there's a ton of hype about Vic Fangio because in 2018 he had the number one defense, whoop-de-freaking-do, back when the Vic Fangio defense actually did things. I don't know how that gets us anywhere. And you can even say, well, they had garbage coaches. Well, that might be true. And look, they have a pretty good roster, but it's just such a big leap to go from we're the biggest pile of trash to we're going to be really good. Yeah, I don't know. Just looking for any kind of reasonable explanation, and I haven't seen it yet. And I want to be convinced because I don't want to have the take that this team sucks because this exact roster dominated the NFL. I just want somebody to explain what the heck happened and how did it get fixed. And I've not heard that yet. Anyways, let's take our first break. We'll come back. We got a ton of AA Ron, so we'll rip through a little bit of that, and then we'll do something else. Patreon.com/Pack_Daddy if you want to support the podcast. You can support me for as little as $1 a month. If I can just get like 1,000 of you to just throw a buck at me, like one time a month, here's $1, then I'm set. That's all I need. This podcast is all I need. Something to think about. We only need like 800 more of you. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. In the hobby, it's not easy of being a fan of ripping packs or repacks. We always hype ourselves up thinking we're going to get some kind of a mint signed Jordan Love card or something. But with zero transparency on available cards and hit rates, it's all just a shot in the dark. That is until now. Introducing slab packs from arenaclub.com, the only repack that provides real value, a complete view of all possible cards, and clear hit rates for each one. Now when I buy slab packs on Arena Club, I finally feel like I know what I'm getting. I don't know if you saw the video me and my son did. That was us on arenaclub.com looking for new cards for my kid. Still on our YouTube channel. You should check it out. They have an incredible website. Slab packs are way better than mystery packs. Immediately after your pulls, they put your cards safe in a vault. So whether you're buying, selling, trading, or displaying, Arena Club's got the card collection platform that you have to check out. Right now, you can get 10% off your first purchase by going to arenaclub.com/PackDaddy. That is a crazy offer. 10% off a $400 slab pack. That's $40 right there. Anyways, that's arenaclub.com/PackDaddy for 10% off your first purchase. What's going on, U.S. Cellular customers? I've got good news, so don't hit skip, at least not yet. I'm talking about their special customer event, Us Days. What is Us Days? It means exclusive offers just for their customers, just to say thanks, like $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet. No, I didn't just misread that. They must really like you. Us Days at U.S. Cellular, exclusive offers just for you, just to say thank you. Right now, U.S. Cellular customers get $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet. Terms apply. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become? Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Hey, Ryan, and everybody out there. It's Aaron from Eau Claire.
Sure.
Hope everyone's doing well. I just wanted to call because there's been all this talk about the music industry and technology, AI, and stuff like that. So I wanted to weigh in because this is exactly what I do for my job. Is I'm a professional musician, college music teacher, and gigging professional, and I deal with multiple facets of the music industry, one being live performances, one being composing music, and dealing with the licensing and royalties and stuff like that, or at least understanding how it works, and then one being, the music education side of things. And so I wanted to just chime in because you were talking about how sorry,
you're right.
I got a little sound effect there. I was checking to see what was going on. Anyways, so this is what I do for my living. This is the kind of stuff I think about day in and day out, and deal with in a very tangible, personal way. And I was going to just say that I have many thoughts on this. One being that amongst people that I've surrounded myself with, musicians and artists and things like that, the general sense is kind of, what do we do? Does this new technology, will it kind of erase my job? Will it make my job less desired or less important or less possible? And I would say the first dominoes to fall would be commercially driven music. So a lot of what I do is more in the way of more, I guess, artistically driven music rather than commercially driven per se. I'm a jazz musician, and I do a lot of other stuff too. I do pop gigs, I do cover bands and wedding bands and stuff, but I would say my focus is on more, I guess, artistic for artistic's sake types of music, which I think in a lot of ways might be one of the later things to be affected. Here, I'm going to call back.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. So a lot of what I do is more, like I was saying, jazz music and more, I guess, contemporary artistic music. So a lot of what I do has never really had a lot of commercial potential compared to like a pop songwriter, which I do some pop songwriting as well. In fact, I wrote that Welcome to Title Town kind of Rage Against the Machine-esque song that I sent to you, and you played it, and I appreciate that. So thank you for that. But yeah, so I do, I love pop music. I love all that stuff, but my career has mainly been, playing saxophone, writing and composing and arranging music for different things, and then teaching. So I guess like the direct effect on my music that I work with, is maybe, I've been seeing the difficulties of making a living as an artist for a long time. So I don't know that in my lifetime it will change my career that much, but like you were saying, in your discussion about it, it might be more of the slow burn that it'll sort of slowly, impact things. And maybe my children or their children will have a different relationship with all this artificial intelligence because, they grew up more closer to it. And so, yeah, it's definitely one of these things where I'm not really sure what to make of it. I play around with some of the AI tools. I do a lot of the image generator stuff, and a lot of it is just seeing what it's capable of. A lot of it is just having fun, making silly images. In fact, one thing that I basically try to make the silliest possible pictures. So I have like pictures of velociraptors, like playing football, and kangaroos, sports betting and all that stuff. Just stupid crap. But, but I've also found some pretty useful uses for it too. Like I made a poster for one of my groups that I'm performing with, and I used an AI generated image as a background image because it was something that's not. It was like I wanted a rhinoceros bursting through a wall, and there's really no pictures of that anywhere. So one sec, I'll call right back because I'm up against the 3 minutes again.
Okay.
Right, here's call number 3. I'm, as you can tell, I'm very interested in this topic, and I find it to be very pertinent right now in the world we live in. But yeah, I think so. Yeah, like there's some useful ways to use it, and I guess the way I've always positioned myself is, you know, I'm really never against technology as a tool. So, you know, as long as this technology is being used for good, useful purposes, I have no problem with it. I think, you know, it's easy to say, oh, well, look at all the stuff that's going to happen. In a lot of ways, all the stuff that AI is capable of doing is already done on a daily basis by humans, in terms of doing harm to people. And, you know, there's been people waging wars and doing bad things for thousands and thousands of years. And so the only concern that's new to AI and robots and things like that is that it's an entirely new era of technology that could potentially have just more potent impact. So that's where I would say, you know, if you kind of take a step back and you look through history, you know, there's always been nebulous or not nebulous. There's always been dubious intent behind behind certain things. There's always been problems in the world. It's not like this is going to be the first, you know, crisis humanity has faced. But I would say it's just a new uncertainty that we don't know what the end result of this technology will bring. And I think that's the scary part for people. And I think that's, you know, whether it's thinking about more of a Terminator kind of like robots with weapons kind of thing, or robots kind of developing a mind of their own with no ethical code to protect humans, whether it's jobs being lost. I think those are all interesting and valid concerns, and yet, you know, just like anything, just like the snowblower in the car and the airplane, there will be certain possibilities that are opened up because of it too that I find really interesting. So, one more call.
All right, last one.
All right, one last call, I promise. We'll have to start our own podcast, AI After Dark, but no, kidding. But obviously this is on people's minds. This has really, really been, you know, a forefront or a prominent thought in people's minds right now. And yeah, I think that there's a good reason to be concerned in terms of how some of this technology could affect people's livelihoods and their jobs, and also just the impact on like human culture, and will it, you know, deteriorate our agency? I don't know. I will say this, generally speaking, the musicians and artists that I hang around with, and that, you know, spans everything from pop musicians like I play some stuff with one of the musicians from Semisonic who did Closing Time, and so I've got, you know, musicians in that world that I work with, and I have musicians in the jazz world, the classical world, songwriter world, you know, and the thought is basically like, this is going to be challenging to deal with, basically. So what you were saying about like the motivation to do music, I think is a really valid concern because, I myself have found myself kind of spiraling into some depression over the whole thing of it being like, if like I enjoy the creative process and I enjoy doing the work. I think that's what most artists and musicians are drawn to is the actual process of creating. And I don't think the question is whether or not, these technologies will be capable of creating work that's passable as quality, music or art. I think it's going to be the question of, how does it affect our relationship to it? And, it is tough to be like, well, what's the point of composing a song? Now, it feels like, an AI generator could create a song similar to that in a matter of seconds, So, there's a bit of a sense of loss, I guess, with the sense of losing the value of what you have poured your heart and soul into. So anyways, I'll leave it at that. I don't really have any answers, but that's the kind of the discussions that I've had. So anyways, hope everyone's doing good.
All right. Again, I understand from your perspective. I think that could end up being somewhat unfortunate. People that appreciate doing the work, because the amount of time work takes is really just an inefficiency. If it's not necessary anymore. I just saw a video recently, go on Twitter, they got all these random videos that pop up, and they showed how they used to make globes. And it was just this army of people, right? You got to create this ball first, and then after that they put some like paper mache all over it, and then they let it rest, and then they put some clay stuff all over it, and then they let it rest, and then they have these ladies like cut out with scissors these little diamond-shaped things, and then they paste it with glue and make sure it's on there just right. And the bottom line is we used to do things. In fact, there was something I heard recently about India. This is sort of the anti-innovation thing, where India, there's an industry of people that make things, with looms and whatever. It's an industry, and they didn't want it to die, so they kept it going. Well, what is the cost of that? There's massive cost. Everybody else has moved on. Nobody's going to pay high exorbitant prices for all the time it's going to take you. So at the end of the day, your time goes to zero. Or the value per hour that you produce goes to zero. It's adapt or die is the bottom line. And that's not to say that there won't be people that appreciate the amount of work that goes in. But, again, I talked about what I've seen, and it's very slowly being implemented. But for example, take video editing. If you look at a thing like Premiere Pro that I have on my computer, if you really wanted to know how to use Premiere Pro or Adobe After Effects or any of those kinds of things, it would be worthwhile to like go to a class that's like a week-long school where they teach you everything and how to do it. It might even be more than that. It could be a semester class to really teach you how to do the video editing and all that kind of stuff. But what if you didn't have to know all the different tools and everything else? You could simply type in a prompt. I want to edit out this person, and it goes back through all the frames and takes the person out. I don't need to know what freaking stupid, I put this in this box, click over here, find this mask, apply it, and then you go to this setting so that whatever. It just knows how to do it. And video editing goes less and less from all the different settings, and it's the same for music. I've seen people who have all these the music stuff, not only the physical gadgets and tools that they have, but the software. The amount of knowledge you have to have, what it is a barrier to entry. And AI is going to make the barrier to entry less and less so that more people can flood in, which in and of itself is going to be a negative for the music industry. And then the bigger negative is going to be people that don't want to adapt because they like the work, they like the process, they like doing things. They want to create their own music, they want to play it, they want to edit it, they want to do all that stuff, whereas other people can go in and say, give me a guitar riff, give me that sort of 80s weeping guitar sound, give me a little solo right here. Okay, I want, put in a chorus right here and, add some drums. And, you can just tell it to do that and it can live edit it. We're not there. I do think that is available, but I don't know if that software is there. It's again, people that don't want to put in that amount of work, but still have a creative interest in creating these things will be able to do it. And again, you can wholesale create stuff, but I think the real benefit is going to be, if you can sort of, let's create a song and then the song is editable. You can see the sound waves, you can see the portions of the song, and you can just say, okay, let's change this up here. And again, you're just interacting with AI that can make the changes live for you. And there's no doubt that we're going to eventually get to that point. And so again, it is sort of an adapt or die situation. That's the biggest thing with AI right now. If you're too stuck on, I don't want to do that, it's just going to make it really hard. And again, the thing that sucks with music is that it's already a nearly impossible industry to make it. And that's with, most people who have some semi-interest in music having no interest in the amount of work and time and effort it would take to actually go learn to be a musician, whether that's, through instrumentation or singing or music creation or whatever. The amount of work it would take, they don't want to do it. Now you don't have to. You can pull up a software and dabble. I want to create a rap beat. Nice. I want these lyrics, and then you can change, the vocals of the rapper, make them sound a little bit more like Biggie. And again, there's still going to be an element of, if you have a creative sense about you, you know what to do. I wouldn't necessarily know what to do. That's where somebody like me wouldn't be able to. But there's so many creative people that have never tapped into their creative senses, or maybe don't even know that they have it because they've never dabbled in it. And again, this it's just going to lower the barrier to entry. Same is true with coding and all that kind of stuff. Whereas you would have needed a lot of education to be able to learn how to do this kind of stuff. Now you really don't. It's going to help, but it's not necessarily worth it anymore. I mean, it was 3 years ago, getting into like IT related fields would be one of the best ones you can get into. And it might still be solid, but you got to be careful what you're dedicating your time to, because that's one of the first things that's going to very easily be done using AI. Maybe if you want to be the head of a company or the manager over a group of people, they're going to want somebody that actually understands how these things function. But now you can just have a bunch of entry-level monkeys with software that'll do the work for you. We want these edits done on websites or whatever. I don't know what IT people do. Well, they can use the software that has AI built into it to make those changes. And if you get stuck, you go to your manager and he can kind of go in and hard code something or whatever. I don't know. But I think that's the biggest thing is you got to recognize that it's time to adapt. There are now tools at your disposal that'll make your job easier. You should try to embrace those. You should try to learn about those. If you're in any of those industries, music or whatever, learn about them. Right now, music, they're just kind of dabbling with stuff like the thing that I use. It's not super great. There's a lot of things that could be, the music I think is great, but there's a lot of things that I would love if it was different. You don't have a ton of input. They do have a thing called in-painting where you can go back and highlight an area and say, change this or whatever. So you can screw around with stuff. But again, this is just entry level. These are like 1970s televisions compared to what we have today. 1998 dial-up internet compared to just, I remember it wasn't even it was that long ago, but I was in college the first time I saw like high-speed internet where you click on something and it just opens. There's not like a loading period. You just click it and it's just there. Like, what the heck is that? And that was a solid 10 years, 12, 15 years into having internet. When most people had a computer with internet, and things are just going pretty rapidly. So again, just think of it as extra tools that can make you better at your job, but use them. I'm begging you to use them. All right, we'll take our final break. We'll come back and hear from TJ in Alabama.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Jewelry isn't a gift you give just once. It's a way to remind your loved one of a beautiful moment every time they see it. Blue Nile can help you find the gift that says how you feel and says it beautifully, with expert guidance and a wide assortment of jewelry of the highest quality at the best price. Go to BlueNile.com and experience the convenience of shopping Blue Nile, the original online jeweler since 1999. That's BlueNile.com to find the perfect jewelry gift for any occasion. BlueNile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
Have you ever experienced turbulence on a flight and wondered why?
And you can see all the terrain around you. You've got no issue with visibility or anything?
No, everything's PG.
Maybe you've sat on the tarmac for hours wondering why your plane isn't moving.
Well, we're outside here. They're saying the ramp is closed. They won't let us park because of Air Force One.
Listen in on the conversations between pilots and air traffic controllers on the Air Traffic Out of Control podcast.
510, declaring an emergency. There's smoke in the cabin. I need to make a landing right now on 31 left.
We have the most interesting, wild, and funny ATC recordings you will ever hear. Check out Air Traffic Out of Control wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Hey, Ryan. TJ from Alabama. Thanks for the content in the pod and all the calls and stuff.
Yeah, man.
A couple of random thoughts popped into my head, basically triggered by the pod and the calls and your opinions and so on and so forth. But what the heck? I'll throw my 2 cents into it as well, and that's really all it's worth, but what the heck. Looking at our division and looking at all the teams and just looking at it, trying to look at it without the Packard-colored glasses on it, which I can't do, but I'll give it a shot.
Sure.
So, starting at the bottom, looking at what's the recipe for success. And if I was going to create a recipe for success in the NFC North, would it be I want a new offensive coordinator from Seattle that wasn't that great there, with a defensive head coach, with a quarterback who is a high draft pick and obviously has some talent, but almost every highlight that he has is off script, him breaking containment and, making something happen with college, and taking that quarterback who does a lot of stuff off script and matching him up with a bunch of old veteran wide receivers from the NFL. And then you throw in there that they get to be on Hard Knocks as well, so you get that kind of in-season, off-season, preseason scrutiny. That's just not a recipe for success in my book. So I think the Bears finished last. I think Caleb does not have a great season. I think he'll be good, but this first season, I don't see it. Minnesota. So I think the Bears actually end up worse than they did last year. I think the Bears don't even win 7 games. Minnesota, I think they'll be sneakily solid. Got great skill positions, really solid skill positions. Aaron Jones, if he stays healthy, receivers good, tight end, quarterback that's serviceable, at least a veteran, good head coach. I see Minnesota not making the playoffs, but flirting with 500. And then you got Green Bay and Detroit battling out for number 1. And yeah, I got to put my Green Bay colored glasses back on. I really think Packers are going to be strong. Every single thing, the weaknesses that they had, they filled in, and looking good. So last quick question for you. Jordan Love contract. If it was your choice, you're the GM, would you rather have Jordan just play out the year, get a short-term contract, or try to get a long-term contract and, see how that plays out? What would be your choice? If you're GM, what would you want to do? That's it. Thanks.
Well, I'd like to get the long-term thing done. Let's just lock it up. I understand that I think both parties might feel a little bit more comfortable with a short-term, maybe. I don't know. And, the skeptical side of me would like a shorter-term thing, but, I think what would... See, your question was if I was GM, but let me just say this. It would make me the most happy if the Packers just paid him a lot of money. You know, I don't know if we want to go to the top or what, but one of the top in that range for 5 years. Because it would just give me the confidence that the Packers have the confidence. If I'm the GM, what would I like to do? I kind of like the idea of, I guess, going short, just because I think, again, it could work for both of us. We'll give you essentially, like I said, a 2-year deal. It's going to be 4 years, but it's a 2-year before we reevaluate. You're going to get a massive chunk of change in your pocket for now. We're not going to give you top, right? You know, we'll give you around 50, from 48 to 50, whatever, in that range. And so, again, you're going to make a ton of money, and then after 2 years, we'll reassess it again. And if you can just stay that dude, then you go to the top, and who knows what the top is. It's 60, 65, whatever it is. That's what you're going to get. It's going to be another, you know, again, just after 2 years, another huge pile of money just thrown in your pocket, and it's going to be a longer-term deal. It could be 5, 6, 7 years. I don't care. So if it's me, that's what I'm doing. If you're asking what I would like to see, I'd like to see the bigger, longer contract, because I trust their evaluation over mine. So just the vote of confidence would be nice. Let's do another one. Aaron, what's up?
Hey Ryan, this is Aaron. So I was obviously in your watching your Packernet After Dark stream last night.
Mm-hmm.
Brought to you by your nephew Vinny.
Yeah.
And in honor of your nephew Vinny, I watched My Cousin Vinny for the first time in my life.
Good, right?
Which I'm surprised, because I'm like a big movie guy. So the fact that I've never seen My Cousin Vinny, I was really surprised, because I have a lot of friends who were really into that movie back in the day. But it was a really good movie.
Yeah.
My goodness. Being into film, just like the framework of how everything was laid out throughout the film, as far as like structure of like the kind of like bookends of the cars driving and whatever. And it was a really, really well thought out, well written, like interesting cultural thing, kind of look at like the difference between like the culture of, I'm sorry, I forgot that, Alabama versus New York. Like, it's kind of funny. It got me thinking. I was like, is this what it's like when Jersey Mike goes down to the South? Like, I mean, I'm sure he loves it, but like, I mean, he lives in Texas, so obviously there's something there some reason that he loves it. But it's just kind of like, it's just seeing the cultures kind of have like two different things. It was like, I don't know. That was why I called in. Just My Cousin Vinny, great movie. If anyone hasn't seen it, it's on Hulu. I highly recommend it. But yeah, anyways, I see you're going on vacation as well. Which that was another question I had. Like, you're going to Fertile Ground Ranch Discipleship, which is your dad's ministry. I've alluded to it in the past. Heading to Windsor, Jersey. But anyways, hope you have fun there. It seems like a really cool place. My question is, do you know if they have ever take volunteers on or whatever? Because I think it would be something cool to potentially just go see how it goes down there, because I have a lot of family in the prison ministry side of life. Sure. And so it's kind of seeing how they do things there, and the reentry stuff that they do, that would be really cool to see. Especially from being in the heart of Minneapolis, which is where I usually see reentry stuff, which doesn't often go well. But no, anyways, sorry, I'm kind of rambling now. But I was just curious about Fertile Ground, if they ever took volunteers on. And anyways, well, have a good time, have a good vacation. Stay safe and peace out.
Yeah, so I know they've, obviously part of the issue when you're dealing with, prison ministries or addiction type things is people with addiction issues and people that have been in and out of prison, which sometimes it's one and the same, generally unreliable people, right? It's tough to find. That's sort of the whole point, is getting you to change the behaviors and whatnot. So the bottom line is, I know that my dad has been looking for mostly long-term help. And again, he's had several people, but things always fall through. The people are making decisions that they shouldn't be making and end up needing to be let go. I don't know about short term, but that would be something interesting that I could ask. If you wanted somebody to come out for a week or a weekend to kind of serve and just kind of work the area or whatever, I'll have to talk to him about it. It might be something kind of interesting that he might be willing to do, and I think it could be a pretty solid option, honestly, considering, again, how difficult it can be to get the people in there and then also get it where, you got people that are reliable enough. I mean, I understand having a heart for a certain clientele and certain people, but it can be difficult, obviously. And he's used to that. He's been dealing with, he did a lot with AA back in the day and was sponsoring a lot of people. And obviously, again, there's a lot of issues and people making bad mistakes and decisions and whatnot. But I think that'd be interesting. I'll have to ask him about that and talk to him about the possibility of having some short-term stays for people that aren't even necessarily what you would say. I mean, it's a discipleship ministry is the main point. It's not necessarily addiction, although that's where he's primarily focused. But I mean, discipleship is for everyone, So I'll talk to him about it, and I will try to get you an answer, Aaron, if I can remember, which I'm sure I can't. But maybe if you want, in like a week or a couple days or something, maybe this week would be a good time. If you want to just text this number, starting between Monday and Wednesday, let's say, then I'll try to get you an answer. So, anyways, yes, if you didn't know, I'm going to be, well, actually, this should be probably a couple days into it, but if you haven't heard from me or whatever, that's why I'm down in Indiana. So actually, Aaron, by the time this is out, maybe today, send me a message and I'll let you know. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a good one. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.